Hi guys, this is part 2 of Is This Now the Time to Invest series, which was started last week with the company GREGGS. I'm going to be going through the third quarter update, which was published yesterday on the 29th of September 2020. I'll be sharing with you the highlights of what I took from it, the points on broad points on its sales trading update, what they're looking to do going forward to improve revenues and long-term sustainable growth in the company post COVID-19. Then I'll be having a look at how they're going to control the costs and what they're going to do to conserve cash to hopefully invest further into the future with an emphasis on digital and their future vision of what they're going to do post COVID-19 to move the company forward. Before we go through the video, I'd just like to ask if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, hit the notification bell. Before we get started, I'd just like to put a disclaimer there: do your own research. This isn't a financial advice channel. It's for my own views and personal opinions. I've done my own research into this company. I've done hours of research into this company, and this is my opinion on its fundamentals and its story. And I won't be recommending to buy or sell or anything like that. It's just my opinions and what I'm looking to do with this company going forward, and any other company that I'll post on here. Same with the portfolio update, which I'll post in once a month on my ISA portfolio. So let's get stuck in. Well, the third quarter update came out yesterday, and it was, what was to be expected. A lot of people were downbeat about it. Shore Capital, one of the analysts following the company, following Greggs, put a recommendation to sell. Very bearish on it. Thought the company could go down another 35 to 40%. Whereas I might agree with some of what they're saying, but in the long term it might do, but in the short term it may do. Because obviously the effects of it. But what they published yesterday was pretty much what was to be expected. I'll just go through some of the broader highlight points of it now. The average sales since it's reopened its stores back in June, phased reopening, is 71% of 2019 levels, which was I was hoping it was going to be closer to the 80%, but 71% still there, considering like over the last few years it's put an emphasis on food on the go rather than your conventional bakeries, and it's put more sites in city centres, train stations, busy office built up areas where people are going to work, and obviously working from home, it's going to affect that. And they've had obviously a reduced basic menu range since reopening, until they've got all their supply chain back up and running. So it's pretty much to be expected, and I'll go through some reasons of why it might be a bit higher, if not for certain circumstances that had affected it in August, but I'll go through them in a minute. The most recent, this is really promising, the most recent 4 weeks to September the 26th trading, it's at 76% of 2019 pre-COVID levels. So that, even with talks of second lockdowns and that, I've noticed it's still busier, and especially sites with car parks and stuff, they've been really, really much busier. So hopefully that's promising. It's getting close to the 80% that they're looking for, and so that's good. This is what they're going to do to try and improve the revenues going forward. They're going to reintroduce some more of the product range, so some more favourites, and they're slowly reintroducing bigger selection. So when you go in, there'll be more options for you, which is what bread and butter. Especially one options when you're looking for your lunch, you don't want the same thing every day, and it will encourage people to buy more stuff. The reopening seating areas in larger sites, it's a good way to get people to go out, and if they can do it in a socially distanced environment and people can have a coffee with each other and a snack, people will want to do that. Good for mental health, good for everything else. People will want to get out and go, so that's going to improve revenue in them stores if they can do that safely and successfully. There you go. And obviously they haven't had any seating areas opening their stores, so I look back to earlier in August that it was subdued sales and stuff like that. So due to the hot weather, people aren't going to buy hot bakes and stuff. They're going to have barbecues and stuff at home and go for nice pub meals and stuff with a nice drink at the pub and sit outside. So Greggs generally doesn't do that well in hot weather anyway. But also because they didn't have the sit down option available, they couldn't take advantage of the eat out to help out scheme that was running. So that's a big cross there for Greggs there. They couldn't, the 50% scheme where people get, if they sat in and ate in, they couldn't take advantage of that due to them not having any sit down locations, eating locations. They're relaunching the store expansion program with an emphasis on new sites with vehicle access. Obviously, the new world, and that people will need to be driving and being able to park up and access the stores rather than on their way to work and commuting to work. So that's what they're looking at going forward. Maybe some drive-throughs and that going forward. So these are promising areas, and I think that will get them back to the over the 8% mark. And I'm pretty happy with what they've said there. It's pretty too much to be what was expected, much from the third trading quarter update. Saying that, looking at the cost controls that they're putting in place, and while trading is going to stay at these levels for the foreseeable future because of COVID-19 and social distancing, the Greggs management are going to review the operational requirements of the business as a whole, and they're going to put proposals and changes forth to unions and employee representatives with the intention of saving as many jobs as possible in the long term by reducing hours and, streamlining their organisation if need be for the protection of long term jobs, and for the company, because obviously if the company's in a healthier position in the future, you'll be able to give more jobs, more hours to its employees. So long term, it's beneficial for everybody. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to reduce more hours than lay people off. So I think that they're trying everything. They've already done as much as they've can. All the management have took pay cuts. They've applied to the furlough scheme. They've looked at Bank of England schemes to get liquidity into the company. So, and they try to conserve as much cash as possible. We're going to go renegotiating rents, which they're still pretty much on top of all their bills paid, which is a good sign. And I know they're back to being cash positive as well. So the turnaround is happening quite successfully. They just need to get them revenues built up, because that's what people love. It's what investors love, earnings. And they're talking about these cost controls purely because it's coming to the end of the furlough scheme. So they've got to look now, because obviously they can't rely on the government furlough scheme to subsidise the wages anymore, subsidise the cost. And they need to be looking at what they can do to, well, basically conserve cash, because they need to protect that cash position they've got as much as possible, because obviously they've had 3 months and they've got a massive hole in their accounts this year, because they've had 3 months of no trade, no income, no revenue due to the COVID-19. So they've got to conserve as much cash and protect their cash position as much as possible, so that they can invest heavily into the future, which we'll be going over now into the next part of the video, because they want to be able to invest as much, and they already have. Even during the lockdown, they've invested heavily in their digital offering at a quick pace, and that's due to them having a good cash position coming in from 2000, such a groundbreaking year in terms of revenue and sales in 2019, and such a strong cash position. They were able to invest heavily in their digital offering since the lockdown was enforced in March. So with this now, we're just going to be looking at their future vision of Greggs. So the first one, the big one, is Just Eat. Now, Greggs are working exclusively with Just Eat to offer their takeout service. And Just Eat's a good company itself. It's very easy to use, simple. Click, order what you want, and I've always found that they've been quite proficient in getting your goods to your door. So I think they've partnered with the right thing. Two good brands there working together, and they're also piloting and trialing in certain stores, in certain locations, roller skating delivery service, which is innovative in itself and cool, with a good slogan: get your skate to bake or whatever like that, which is quite cool, I think. And I also think that the turning Greggs into a takeout option, will increase revenues once it gets going. I mean, 6 months to a year. Once it gets going, it's gonna really help this company and improve revenues. Even it would improve the revenue even without COVID-19 happening, even with the great sales and great operations that they were running in 2019. It would have still added. I think it would have added another dimension then even. So this will help. You just look like 10 years ago, people were saying, "Oh, I was seeing on Facebook, people were saying, I wish I could have a Sunday dinner delivered to my door," and look now, you can order a carvery to your door. So things are changing, and they are things that you wouldn't think people would order. They are, because people are living different lives now. Your grandparents would never have thought about ordering their Sunday dinner in, but us as few people of this day and age, in a digital age, have got no problem with that, and it's quick and it's easy, and to be fair, half the time it's more tasty. So there you go, Just Eat Takeaway. They've already got click and collect in all their Greggs stores, so you can go online, order what you want, and go and pick it up in the car. That's obviously with more vehicle locations, that'd be ideal, wouldn't it? Click and collect. Or you're all at work, you just order it and you go and collect it, pick it up, get back to work. Everyone at work can enjoy their Greggs and click and collect. So they've already got that. So that's a service there. And then obviously the Greggs Reward app. So obviously you take it. There must be an app that you can get on Google Play for the Greggs Rewards, and I think it just works pretty much the way any reward app does. You spend in store, you get points, you can spend it. You take your points in, use them as currency to pay for your savoury and sweet treats. So my biggest thing from this is that 80% of the UK population, 80% of the adult UK population have a smart device, have a smartphone. So they do a lot of their shopping, clothes shopping, even food shopping through their mobile devices. So this is where Greggs need to move forward. They can't just stay still. Brick and mortar, if it's done properly and successfully with good implementation of operations and store standards, then it can still be successful in the high street. But I think you can't just rely on, you can have a good brick and mortar and digital offering, and I think you need both for long-term prosperity and growth. Because obviously people will like the physical socialising, but they also do a lot of people live a lot of their lives through their mobile devices and through the internet. So I'm glad that for the future, I'm glad that they're investing heavily in the digital proposition. And finally, which isn't digital but drive-through kiosk. Now this is absolutely mind-blowing. Driving through, getting a Greggs. You think about people on the motorway, on the way to, on a holiday, drive through, grab it, and it's successful with McDonald's. And Greggs isn't a bakery anymore. It's not a traditional go in, you get your bread for the week, you get your, it's not a bakery. It is a bakery, high street bakery, but it's not. It's more of a fast food outlet now. Food on the go, quick grab and go. That's what it is. That's where it's gone. And that's why it's suffered probably more than it would have in the COVID-19 situation, because it is grab on you go food, working people, on the way to commuting. Basically, it's grab and go food, but it is tasty grab and go food. It's a good brand that people love. So I think the drive-through, is a good addition to its store estate. And I've not heard of anyone, catching COVID from car to car transmission. So, it's probably a safe way of doing it. So drive-throughs, yeah, it's a fast food. It's grab and go now. It's more like a McDonald's, so it should have its drive-through sites. And that's the whole future vision for Greggs at this moment in time. That's what I've taken from its third quarter updates and so on. And so let's get to I'm going to put in every one of these videos now a Buffett quote, and this is that applies to the analysis that I'm doing. I know people are quite bearish in the short term for Greggs, and I can understand why. Because short term, while COVID-19 is about, it's going to struggle to get to where it was in 2019 at its highs, its sales and revenue. It is. That said, the things that it's put in place will help it get there faster. I think if it's successful in what they do, and they genuinely are, the management are good, they've got good marketing, they allocate capital well, they're very astute, and they're very, I think they work with great integrity. And so my future outlook for GREGGS in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years is the same as before COVID. So what I'm saying in that is, all right, you might have some volatility and you might lose money in the short term, only if you sell the stock. But if you're willing to hold on for the long term, I think that you can be it's going to be a big winner. It's still going to be around in 10, 15 years, in my personal opinion. So in that, I'm going to do the the Warren Buffett quote: if you're not willing to own your stock for 10 years, do not even think about owning it for 10 minutes. Meaning, if you're going to buy a company, you buy it for 10 years. You're looking to hold it for a long time. You're putting money in it now to get a return in the future. You're not looking to think, oh, they're going to have a good update quarter this month. Oh, I'll get some quick profits in. That's trading. That's day trading. That's a different thing. That's not investing, in my opinion. So that's my Warren Buffett quote for this video. If you're not willing to own a stock for 10 years, do not think about owning it for 10 minutes. And that's what I think GREGGS is. I think it's a great long-term investment, and it's going to, reward people in the future. To me, it's like the UK's Coca-Cola or the UK's McDonald's. And that's what it's a great UK, it was a great UK growth stock. Now it's a great UK value stock. I think it holds a lot of value. That said, I've been buying, and I've got a big position in this company. My largest position in my ISA portfolios is GREGGS. That said, I've been buying between £11 and £13 a share. And for a bit more margin of safety now, just in the short term, I'm not going to buy any more. But I'm looking at more of a price of between £7 and £8 a share. If it gets to that, I'm going to stockpile more into this, with the potential upside in 10 to 5, 10, 15 years, great. So let's just get to my conclusion on what I feel my personal feelings for this stock is at the moment, and it is a hold. I'm going to hold my position, and if it does get to the levels of £7, £8 a share, I'm going to stockpile quite a bit of cash into it. And then I'm going to hold it for the long term, then the real long term, the 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm going to look to it. I don't know when things are going to pick back up, but I don't know when it's, the stock share price is going to take off again. I don't know. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. I just don't know. But I just know that this company is still going to be around in 10, 15, 20 years time. It's going to be flourishing, in my opinion. And so in that thought, it's a good hold in my ISA for me, which I will be holding for the long term. And if I could buy the whole company as a whole, this is the way I look at it. If I could buy the company as a whole, I'd buy it, and I'd live off it for the rest of my life. Then live off the income for the rest of my life, the revenues and whatever. So if I could buy it as a whole, why not buy it? But I can't afford to buy it as a whole, so I'm happy to hold a piece of the company stocks, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it for the long term. And then finally, thanks for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Can I just ask that you all smash that like button, comment on the video if you've got anything to comment, your own thoughts, opinions, how you feel about it, if there's anything you'd like to add, and hit that notification bell. Subscribe, please, and hit that notification bell if you want to hear any more videos like this in the future. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day. Peace out.